Hello, and welcome to Chapter 3 of the Bankers Masterclass series, sponsored by Akamai, exploring how financial services firms can stay ahead in cybersecurity. I'm Joy Macknight, editor of The Banker, and with me is Andy Crail, Senior Manager Solutions Engineering at Akamai, to talk about the ransomware threat. Thanks for joining me, Andy.
Thanks for having me.
So how big of a threat is ransomware to financial services?
It's a large threat we're seeing. We've done some analysis into ransomware as a service gangs, and they are typically trying to go after countries that have large GDPs, looking for companies that kind of ultimately pay the ransomware. And we're seeing, if we look in the European region, that about 73% of the successful attacks are happening in the top 4 of the countries that are there. This is really looking at the fact that they're trying to find the companies that they're going to be, one, successful with, and two, able to pay the ransomware.
So how are the techniques that cyber criminals are using in ransomware evolving? And then again, what are some of the common techniques that they use against financial services firms?
We're seeing today that we most know the ransomware attacker being very visible in front of you, of the machine being encrypted. What attackers are trying to do is that they want to get into the organization, typically by using things like phishing attacks, other ones to expose the user, their credentials. And they're going to stay fairly quiet. The reason to do that is that one, machine isn't that useful to them. Yes, they might get some info or be able to ransomware for a small amount, but they want to move laterally within the organization, try to get as much data and machines as they can. So after a period of time, they're then going to look at encrypting the network and causing the most chaos possible. Now, hopefully, as an organization, you're able to respond to that, try to contain, and then maybe recover the network. Or you may be thinking about paying the ransom, which hopefully we shouldn't be doing. We don't want to encourage it. If you do recover the network and the machines, what's then happening, and we're seeing more of this now, is kind of double ransomware of extortion, effectively, where they then go, actually, we extracted a load of data out of your network already. So yes, you restored your network, but now we're going to hold you ransom for the data we're going to put publicly on the internet. So at that point, you're kind of still stuck. You can't recover that. It's how you're going to handle it.
So how can financial services firms best prepare themselves to mitigate, some of the threat that comes with a ransomware attack?
Yeah, the most important point is trying to look to see how you can try to contain that risk. So when the attacker gets a foothold in your network, can you stop them from moving around and getting more machines to be able to cause more damage? So the way we can kind of look at that is saying, can we look to segment up the network or the devices? If you think about a ship analogy where they have the bulkheads, they're trying to stop the one area being sort of exposed to causing a whole system to go down or a whole ship to be sunk. So we can look to do that by something called micro-segmentation, where we look to contain each device in the network and really look at what's happening. That can seem quite daunting for some companies, the thought of trying to be able to control every device in their network and make sure that it's only able to talk to certain things. And that's where I think technology has really kind of evolved. And it's an area where companies are starting to look at much more now. We've done a lot of control on the end user machine. There's been a lot of investment saying, can we protect the specific laptop or device the user's using? And now they're starting to look at how can we protect the wider network and making sure that we stop that movement. It's important to then have the technologies that, one, can give you the visibility. With the visibility, you can make the right decisions around where you control the risk and where you maybe need to be open. Businesses want to look at it that way because they want to make sure that you're not going to impact the business by making the tighter security controls. Security isn't here to stop a business, it's a business enabler. So we want to make sure that the technology that's put in place can actually benefit the business as well as keeping it secure at the same time.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your insights, Andy.
No problem. Thank you for having me.